Hi, I'm Alex Paulton. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Talking Timepieces. Today, we're going to talk about this Junghans Master Calendar, Meister Kalender. It's a Moonphase date, month, day of the week. So you can call it a triple date. Some people call it a complete date, but essentially it's a calendar-oriented watch, just telling you the time and the date and moon phase. Now, moon phase is arguably one of the least useful complications, but it's one of my favorite ones. Now, this is they say it's a 40. Let's take a quick look, see. Yep, 40 millimeters. The thickness, we're running about 13 millimeters thick. And it has a plexiglass crystal. You can get it upgraded to a sapphire crystal, which I thought was interesting because I recently, the last review I did was about this Chinese tourbillon, and the case is a direct copy of the Junghans Bauhaus style, though the irony is this one came with a sapphire crystal and this one does not. The sapphire crystal is an upgrade, and this watch costs almost twice what this watch cost, and it's got a tourbillon. Now, if you look at the fit and finish on the watches, you'll see that the Reef Tiger actually is not a bad presentation. It's a larger movement, and the finish isn't as nice as the Junghans, but it's pretty good, and it's a larger movement. So if you notice, Junghans has done a very good job at hiding the fact that it's a relatively basic movement in there. I shouldn't say basic. It's an ETA 2824. They call it the J800, but it's actually, like I said, it's a relatively small movement. It's about 25 millimeters. I looked it up. And this is a 40 millimeter case. So they've done a good job of camouflaging the smaller movement in the larger case. It does have, like I said, triple date functionality, and it's not set right now. It's just the second hand's moving from my movement. It's not wound right now. But they've done a great job with camouflaging the size of the movement. Especially, I like the way that they've spread out the month and day of the week windows, so that way it uses the real estate of the face. Another interesting little feature about this is if you look very closely, let's see, let's move the second hand a little bit more. There we go. If you notice, there's a little rim on the inside of the moon phase, so they can get away with a little bit bigger window for the size of the movement, and that way they can get away with a bigger date ring. You can put larger numbers, easier to read. So they've really done a lot of work to camouflage what a small movement. And like I said, it's well presented at least, so it is a nice looking presentation. Okay, so other things about this watch: it has a very nice bracelet. The bracelet's nice and supple. It doesn't catch on any hairs or anything. There are a couple of places where it gets stiff on occasion, but I don't wear it enough. Don't want to lubricate it either. It's got a nice double deployant logo, twin release. And there you go. So if you want a nice, dressy watch with some interesting complications, I would totally recommend the Junghans. Now, if you go a little bit higher in price, you can definitely get a better triple date. But when you're considering that these are all variations within this price point, anything under, say, $5,000 is going to have an ETA movement in there, hopefully reworked. But basically, you're not going to get an in-house movement in this type of a complication for under five. So if you're going to buy one, let's say, for example, the Longines has also a nice one. Baume & Mercier also has a nice one. This one does all of that at a lower price point. They're working really hard to make that price point, but the Junghans is a good looking piece. I like the dark gray face. I like the way that they've managed to present the Moonphase, and the triple date is always a nice function. So this retails for about $1,900, give or take. You could probably find it used for about 15. It loses about a quarter of its value right up front, but then it maintains its value beyond that point. So like I said, you can probably pick one up for 15 used. It'll be hard to pick one up for 1,000. You might be able to find one, but it would be a tough search. So this is Alex Pault for Talking Timepieces. Thanks for taking the time to be with me today.